Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you tonight about a power that is closer than your breath and greater than any circumstance. It is the power of your spoken word. Words are not idle. They are seeds, and every seed you plant with your tongue must grow and return to you. The universe does not sleep, and neither does the law of your own declaration. Tonight, I invite you into a challenge, a 21-day journey called Speak It Before Sleep. For when you speak before you rest, you plant in the fertile soil of the subconscious mind, and as you sleep, the garden of your soul brings forth fruit. Many go to bed with worry, fear, and doubt, and they rise with the harvest of confusion. But those who lie down in faith, in victory, in prosperity spoken aloud, wake to doors opening, paths clearing, and miracles unfolding. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, when I tell you that the spoken word is a spiritual seed, I mean it in the truest, most literal sense. Every word you utter carries within it the power of creation, the same power that shaped the stars, the seas, and the breath of life itself. Words are not empty sounds that vanish into the night. They are living vibrations, carriers of intention, and builders of reality. When you speak, you plant. And the ground in which you plant, especially before sleep, is the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. It is the field where the invisible becomes visible, where thought becomes form, and where faith bears fruit. Many people spend their days planting weeds of worry, fear, and complaint, then wonder why their lives are overrun with thorns. But I say to you, when you begin to speak with divine authority, you plant seeds of victory, and no soil is more ready to receive those seeds than the subconscious as it rests in the quiet of night. Before you drift into sleep, your conscious mind surrenders its power. The gates of reasoning close, and the watchman at the door of thought lays down his guard. In that sacred hour, what you say has direct passage to the deep, hidden chambers of your inner world. That is where your beliefs are housed, where your patterns are written, where the script of your life is rehearsed and repeated until it becomes your reality. Speak defeat before you sleep, and your subconscious will prepare the stage for failure. Speak lack, and it will produce lack. But speak life, prosperity, health, and divine order, and the unseen forces of the universe go to work while you rest, arranging circumstances, moving people, and shifting the very current of events to align with your decree. You cannot sow one thing and reap another. That is the unchanging law. No man can plant seeds of bitterness and expect to gather joy. No woman can plant words of fear and expect to awaken in faith. The harvest is always faithful to the seed, and your words are the seeds of your future. The tragedy is that many people have no awareness of what they are sowing. They speak casually, thoughtlessly, not realizing that each word is a command, each phrase a decree, each sentence a covenant with destiny. When you understand that your words are spiritual seeds, you begin to guard your tongue as carefully as a farmer guards his field. You choose your words not based on your emotions, but based on the harvest you desire. Consider the rhythm of your day. Morning is the time for sowing, and evening is the time for sealing. What you speak at night is like sealing a letter before it is delivered. The universe holds it, presses it into the subconscious, and ensures that it reaches its destination. If you go to bed with complaints, you seal your day in dissatisfaction, and that letter is delivered to tomorrow with more of the same. But if you go to bed speaking abundance, joy, and gratitude, you seal your day in victory, and that letter is delivered to tomorrow with blessings multiplied. The last words that leave your lips before sleep are often the strongest instructions you give to your subconscious mind, and those instructions are carried out faithfully, without question, without delay. Science now whispers what Scripture has thundered all along. The mind is fertile ground. Neural pathways are carved by repetition, and whatever you declare consistently becomes the lens through which you experience life. But long before science discovered this, the mystics and the prophets knew that the tongue holds the power of life and death. They understood that words carry vibration, vibration creates form, and form becomes your world. It is not magic, it is law, and law is impartial. It does not reward or punish, it only reflects. If you plant wheat, you will not reap thorns. If you plant roses, you will not gather weeds. If you plant faith, you will not receive despair. The law is as steady as the rising sun and as sure as gravity itself. So when I say the spoken word is a spiritual seed, I urge you to see every phrase as a seed falling into the garden of your subconscious. Some seeds sprout quickly, others take time, but none fail to grow. Every repetition waters them, every emotion fertilizes them, and the subconscious nurtures them in the silence of night. And when the season is right, they emerge in your life as experiences, opportunities, or challenges, all faithful to the original seed. Nothing you live through is separate from the words you have spoken, for your life is simply the outpicturing of your inner speech made visible in the theater of time. Before sleep, when the veil between the conscious and the subconscious is thinnest, you have the greatest opportunity to choose your crop. You can lay down with words of blessing or words of cursing. You can plant seeds of hope or seeds of despair. The soil does not discriminate. It will grow whatever is given to it. That is why the challenge is not just about speaking, but about speaking with awareness, speaking with faith, speaking with conviction, as if you already hold in your hand the harvest you desire. For the law of the seed is this: what you sow in faith before sleep, you will surely reap in due season. Your nightly declarations create tomorrow's circumstances, for the law of mind never rests. Every hour you live, your mind is working, weaving, shaping, creating, even when your body is still. The conscious mind may sleep, but the subconscious mind never slumbers. It takes every impression, every word, every picture you give it, and goes to work as faithfully as a servant carrying out orders from its master. That is why what you say before you sleep is so powerful, for those words become the blueprint of your tomorrow. You are not speaking idle phrases. You are setting laws in motion, decreeing what the next day must bring forth. When you speak deliberately, with conviction, you are planting the program that your subconscious will run while you rest. So many people go to bed rehearsing their failures, replaying their worries, or murmuring words of complaint. They lie in bed saying to themselves, "Nothing ever works for me. Tomorrow will be just as hard. I don't know how I will pay these bills. I feel so tired, so weak." And the subconscious, faithful and unquestioning, takes those words and prepares circumstances to match them. It opens doors for more lack, more struggle, more fatigue. The law of mind never rests. It does not stop to argue. It does not stop to consider whether the command is wise or foolish. It simply carries it out. That is why lives become cycles of repetition, for yesterday's words spoken at night become today's experiences, and today's complaints become tomorrow's struggles. But when you learn to use the same law for your good, everything changes. You realize that the night is not an ending but a beginning. Each evening becomes a sacred opportunity to shape the coming day. By speaking affirmations of strength, prosperity, healing, and divine order before you close your eyes, you send those vibrations deep into the subconscious, where they continue to live and grow throughout the night. You may be sleeping, but your words are alive, and they are creating. When you rise, you step into the world your words have prepared. The difference is remarkable. Instead of waking heavy with fear, you awaken with a sense of expectation. Because you declared the night before that life is aligning in your favor, that unseen help is already on the way, that doors are opening, and that strength fills your body. This is not imagination, it is law. Just as surely as planting seeds in the earth produces a harvest in its season, planting words in the subconscious produces results in time. Your subconscious is not moved by appearances, it is moved by repetition, feeling, and decree. What you say, especially in those quiet moments before sleep, is received as truth, even if the evidence of your senses seems to contradict it. Speak health when your body feels weak and the subconscious begins working toward restoring balance. Speak wealth when your pockets are empty and circumstances begin arranging themselves to bring you provision. Speak peace when turmoil surrounds you and your inner world begins to quiet, allowing new solutions to appear. The challenge is that most people have trained themselves in negative declarations without even realizing it. They speak of what they don't want instead of what they do want. They reinforce their troubles instead of their triumphs. They use the law unconsciously against themselves. But the moment you become conscious, the moment you recognize that your words are orders to the subconscious, you begin to shift the entire direction of your life. Each night becomes an opportunity to send forth new commands, new blueprints, new seeds of destiny. And because the subconscious never rests, it begins its work immediately, carrying your words into the unseen, where they gather substance and prepare to manifest. Think of it this way: when an architect draws plans for a house, the builders do not argue with him, they simply follow the plan. In the same way, your subconscious does not debate with you, it follows your word. If you declare ruin, it builds ruin. If you declare abundance, it builds abundance. If you declare confusion, it builds confusion. But if you declare clarity, success, and favor, it begins arranging the details of your life to match that design. The key is to speak not what you see, but what you desire to see, not what you fear, but what you know belongs to you by divine right. And the best time to do this is before sleep, for that is when the conscious resistance is quiet. During the day, your conscious mind is filled with doubts, logic, and reasoning. But at night, when you are drifting into slumber, the guard is lowered. Whatever you speak in that moment slips past the gate and is received by the subconscious as instruction. It does not question, it does not resist. It simply accepts and begins to work. This is why the words you speak before bed often echo in your dreams and shape the mood with which you wake. They are the seeds of tomorrow's circumstances, and because the law of mind never rests, they grow even as you sleep, ensuring that when the sun rises, you step into the harvest of your own decree. Words charged with faith erase doubt, fear, and limitation, replacing them with peace, power, and prosperity. Faith is the fire that ignites your words and gives them creative force. A sentence spoken without faith is like a seed cast upon stone. But when faith is breathed into words, they sink deep into the fertile ground of the subconscious and begin to grow. Faith transforms ordinary speech into spiritual law, and when that law is spoken with conviction, it overrides the old patterns of doubt and fear that have ruled the mind. Many live imprisoned by their own words, repeating the language of lack and limitation until their lives reflect exactly what they confess. Yet the moment faith enters their speech, the vibration changes and life begins to respond differently. Faith-filled words carry authority. They command the atmosphere, they penetrate resistance, they reach beyond appearances. When you declare with faith that health flows through you, even while your body feels weak, you send forth a force stronger than the sickness. When you affirm with faith that abundance surrounds you, even while your bank account is empty, you summon the resources that will meet your need. Faith does not deny reality. Faith declares a higher reality until the visible world aligns with it. Words charged with faith are not begging, they are decreeing. They do not plead with the universe, they command it according to divine law. That is why fear and doubt must dissolve before them, for they cannot withstand the vibration of faith. Consider how fear works. Fear also speaks words, and those words carry power, but it is destructive power. When a person says, "I can't do it, I am afraid, I will fail," those words carry the seed of defeat. The subconscious accepts them, and circumstances are arranged to confirm them. Fear plants weeds in the garden of the mind. But faith uproots those weeds. When you speak words charged with faith, they are like a blazing light shining into the darkness of fear, burning away the illusions of limitation. Fear whispers, "It is not possible," but faith declares, "All things are possible." Doubt says, "You do not have what it takes," but faith affirms, "I am equipped, I am guided, I am divinely supplied. Limitation says, this is the end. But faith answers, this is the beginning of something greater. Your words are instruments of power, but the power is amplified when faith is present. Imagine two musicians, one plays without passion, going through the motions, and the sound is flat and lifeless. The other plays with fire in the soul, and the same notes suddenly carry energy that moves hearts and changes atmospheres. So it is with your speech. Empty words are lifeless, but words infused with faith resonate with divine energy. They move unseen forces, they shift circumstances, they create opportunities where none existed before. Faith is the difference between saying, I hope, and declaring, I know. Hope waits for change, faith declares change. Hope looks forward, faith brings it into the now. The beauty of faith-filled words is that they not only erase doubt and fear in your own life, but they also influence those around you. When you speak with conviction, others feel it. Your words carry weight because they are not spoken from the surface of the mind, but from the depth of belief. A parent who speaks faith to a child sows courage in that child's spirit. A leader who speaks faith to a group of people lifts them out of despair. Faith-filled words ripple outward, creating peace where there was confusion, creating power where there was weakness, creating prosperity where there was lack. Peace, power, and prosperity are the natural results of faith-filled speech. Peace comes because faith silences the noise of fear. When you declare that all is well, even when storms rage around you, the subconscious receives that word and begins to calm the inner waters. Power comes because faith awakens the divine strength within you. When you affirm that you are capable, guided, and supported, you step into a confidence that propels you forward. Prosperity comes because faith attracts supply. When you declare with conviction that abundance flows to you freely, you open the channels through which opportunities and resources arrive. This is why every word spoken in faith is a seed of transformation. Each declaration plants a new pattern in the subconscious, gradually replacing the old records of fear and limitation. Repetition waters the seed, and emotion fertilizes it. The more you speak with conviction, the deeper the roots grow, until faith becomes the dominant vibration of your life. At that point, doubt loses its grip, fear cannot hold you, and limitation gives way to expansion. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally, because your words have created the inner conditions that allow the outer world to shift. Even in moments of weakness, the practice of faith-filled speech can lift you. The act of speaking words of victory, even when you do not yet feel victorious, begins to stir the energy of belief within you. It is like striking a match in the dark. The flame may be small, but it pushes back the shadows. With every repetition, the flame grows brighter until the darkness is consumed. This is the secret. Faith is not dependent on what you see. It is dependent on what you declare. And when you speak with unwavering conviction, the universe must respond in kind, for words charged with faith cannot return empty. They must accomplish that for which they are spoken. Repetition over 21 days builds a new vibration, attracting conditions that match your spoken decree. The mind is shaped by patterns, and patterns are formed by repetition. Whatever you do, say, or think over and over again becomes etched into the subconscious like grooves in stone. The subconscious does not resist what is repeated. It accepts it, adopts it, and makes it law in your life. That is why habits are so powerful, and that is why the 21-day challenge is more than just a practice. It is a reprogramming of your inner world. By speaking your desired outcome every night before sleep, you are impressing the subconscious again and again until it becomes the dominant vibration within you. When that vibration takes hold, the outer world must shift to match it, for life always reflects the strongest patterns of thought and word. The number 21 is not magical in itself, but it represents a cycle of transformation. Psychologists, spiritual teachers, and sages across time have all recognized that the mind adapts to what is repeated consistently over a set period. At first, the words may feel foreign, even unbelievable. when you declare abundance while looking at bills, when you affirm health while feeling pain, when you speak peace while surrounded by turmoil. The conscious mind may resist. But each night you repeat your decree, you weaken the resistance, and each time you speak with conviction, you strengthen the imprint. By the end of 21 days, what once felt unnatural begins to feel familiar, and what once felt like wishful thinking begins to feel like truth. Vibration is the unseen energy that radiates from your words, thoughts, and emotions. Every person, every object, every circumstance carries a vibration, and like vibrations attract one another. When you repeat your affirmations nightly, you are not only planting words in the subconscious, you are also building a vibration that calls to itself experiences, people, and opportunities that resonate with it. Speak lack and lack will answer. Speak fear and fear will multiply. But speak prosperity, peace, and strength with repetition, and those conditions begin to seek you out. It is not coincidence, it is law like attracts like, and repetition tunes your vibration like a musical instrument until you are resonating with the reality you desire. Think of water carving a channel through rock. One drop seems insignificant, but repeated drops over time create a path. In the same way, one night of speaking affirmations may not appear to change much, but over 21 nights, the words begin to carve new channels in the subconscious mind. The old grooves of fear and doubt begin to erode, while new grooves of faith and certainty are established. Eventually, your energy flows naturally along the new path, because the repetition has made it the dominant way of thinking and believing. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. A single burst of positive words cannot override years of negative conditioning, but steady repetition over 21 days begins the work of transformation. And once the vibration is set, the results follow naturally. The beauty of repetition is that it shifts belief. At the start, you may feel as though you are only speaking words, but as the days go on, you begin to feel them. Emotion enters the affirmations, and emotion accelerates the process. Words without feeling are like seeds without water, but words spoken with passion are alive. The more you repeat, the more your subconscious believes, and the more your subconscious believes, the faster your outer world reflects it. This is why the challenge is powerful. It keeps you steady long enough for the seed to take root, and for the vibration to grow strong enough to attract its match. Consider how many times fear has been repeated in your life. From childhood, people are told over and over what they cannot do, what is impossible, what they should fear. Those repetitions created deep vibrations of limitation. But in the same way those limiting beliefs were formed, new empowering beliefs can be formed. If 21 days of repeated fear can create chains, then 21 days of repeated faith can break them. The subconscious is not loyal to fear or faith, it is loyal only to repetition. Whatever you give it most often becomes its truth. That is why the practice of nightly declarations is so essential. It replaces the constant repetition of doubt with the constant repetition of victory. At the end of the cycle, you begin to notice subtle shifts. Situations that once felt heavy seem lighter. Opportunities begin to appear. A sense of inner calm rises where anxiety once lived. These are signs that your vibration has changed, that the law of attraction has taken hold, and that your repeated words are now bearing fruit. The challenge is simply the vessel that carries you long enough for the transformation to solidify. Each night is a step in building momentum, and once momentum is established, it carries you forward with ease. You no longer have to force the words. They become natural, because they have been imprinted on your subconscious, and once they are imprinted, they radiate outward as your living vibration, summoning into your life the conditions that echo what you have faithfully spoken. Negative speech is a curse upon your own harvest. Guard your tongue as you would guard a treasure. Every word you speak is a seed, and the soil of the subconscious does not discriminate between good and bad seed, between blessings and curses, between life and death. It simply takes the imprint, nurtures it, and brings forth fruit in its season. When you speak words of fear, anger, complaint, or limitation. You are planting weeds in the fertile garden of your mind. Those weeds do not stay small, they grow, they spread, and they choke the life out of the good seeds you have planted. Many people cancel their own blessings by allowing negative speech to flow freely from their lips. They affirm lack when they complain about not having enough. They affirm weakness when they declare how tired or sick they are. They affirm failure when they say they can never succeed. Then they look at their lives and wonder why nothing changes, not realizing that their tongue has been working against them the whole time. The power of words has always been known by those who understand spiritual law. Ancient writings declare that life and death are in the power of the tongue. It is not symbolic, it is literal. Words set vibration in motion, and vibration attracts conditions that match it. To speak negatively is to invoke a law that cannot be broken, a law that brings into form the very thing you wish to avoid. This is why it is said that the tongue is like a sword. It can wound or it can protect, it can destroy or it can defend. Every careless word is like swinging that sword without aim, cutting down your own opportunities and piercing your own future. That is why discipline of speech is essential. Just as you would not allow poison into your body knowingly, you must not allow poison to flow from your lips. Guarding your tongue means becoming conscious of the words you use daily. It means pausing before you speak and asking yourself, is this word creating the future I desire? Is this phrase planting seeds of blessing or seeds of destruction? The habit of negative speech is often unconscious. People do not realize they are cursing themselves with every complaint, every sarcastic remark, every statement of defeat. Yet the subconscious does not overlook it. It records every word, it accepts every decree, and it works to make it true. To complain is to rehearse lack. To speak sickness is to rehearse weakness. To talk about failure is to rehearse defeat. And rehearsal becomes performance when the subconscious sets the stage for life to play out exactly as it was spoken. The tongue must be treated as a treasure, for with it you shape destiny. A treasure is protected, guarded, locked away from thieves and misuse. In the same way, you must protect your words from being stolen by the thief of negativity, from being misused in moments of frustration or carelessness. Words are too valuable to be spent on gossip, criticism, or complaint. Each word is currency, and the way you spend it determines the wealth or poverty of your future. Negative speech spends the wealth of possibility on worthless outcomes, while positive speech invests it into a harvest of abundance. You cannot plant thorns and expect roses, and you cannot speak curses and expect blessings. The harvest is always true to the seed. If you plant bitterness, bitterness will return. If you plant anger, anger will multiply. But the reverse is also true. If you plant gratitude, gratitude will expand. If you plant love, love will increase. If you plant faith, faith will bear fruit. To guard your tongue is to guard your harvest, for what you speak today determines what you will reap tomorrow. The greatest challenge is that negative speech often feels justified. People believe that by voicing their frustration, they are releasing it, but in reality, they are reinforcing it. The more they speak of problems, the more power those problems gain. The more they talk about what is wrong, the more wrongness multiplies. What you resist, you reinforce by giving it energy through your words. The subconscious does not know the difference between what you want and what you do not want. It only knows what you repeat with conviction. That is why it is dangerous to continually rehearse troubles aloud, because in rehearsing them, you are instructing the subconscious to create more of the same. Guarding your tongue also requires listening to the speech of others and choosing whether to agree or remain silent. When those around you speak words of defeat, you do not have to echo them. Silence is safer than agreement with negativity. Your agreement is your consent, and your consent gives power. To guard your tongue is also to guard your agreement, to refuse to join in conversations that plant seeds of lack and fear. Instead, you redirect, you uplift, you plant different words in the atmosphere. In doing so, you not only protect your own harvest, but you also influence the soil of others, encouraging them to plant better seeds. Discipline of speech may feel difficult at first, but it becomes second nature with practice. Just as a farmer learns which seeds to save and which weeds to burn, you too learn which words to cultivate and which to discard. Over time, your vocabulary changes, your declarations shift, and your subconscious becomes filled with words that create life, not death. Each guarded word becomes a treasure laid up for the future, a deposit into the account of your destiny. Negative speech is waste. Positive speech is investment. One drains you, the other enriches you. The choice is made every time you open your mouth, and the harvest is waiting in every word you choose to release into the fertile field of your mind. Speak only victory, abundance, and divine order, and you will awaken to miracles beyond imagination. The words that pass your lips are not casual expressions, but declarations that carry the vibration of creation. To speak of defeat is to summon defeat. To speak of lack is to invite lack. But to speak of victory is to call forth triumph. To speak of abundance is to open the channels of supply. And to speak of divine order is to align your life with the perfect plan already written in the heavens. Your speech is not powerless chatter. It is the key that either unlocks doors or bolts them shut. When you discipline yourself to speak only in harmony with victory and abundance, your entire being shifts into alignment with the higher laws of life, and from that alignment, miracles are born. Victory is not just an outcome, it is a vibration. When you declare victory, even in the midst of struggle, you set in motion a force that cannot be stopped. Life bends to the vibration of confidence. When you say, "I win, I overcome, I rise," you program your subconscious to seek out the path of triumph. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable begin to yield because you have declared yourself greater than them. Victory spoken with conviction creates the inner certainty that no difficulty can withstand, because the battle is won first in the unseen. The mind that accepts victory as inevitable finds solutions others cannot see, strength others cannot muster, and opportunities others overlook. Your words of triumph declare to the universe that you will not be defeated, and the universe answers by arranging conditions in your favor. Abundance is the natural flow of life, but it is often blocked by words of scarcity. People say, "There is never enough money is hard to come by. Opportunities are rare," and by their words, they close the door to the infinite supply that surrounds them. But when you speak abundance, you open that door wide. Words like, "I have more than enough, supply flows to me, I live in overflow," are not empty affirmations. They are vibrations that call to the substance of the universe. The law of supply is infinite, but it responds only to the demand of faith-filled words. When you declare abundance, you align with the truth that the universe is not barren but overflowing, not limited but limitless. That declaration awakens your mind to see opportunities where none seem to exist and draws resources into your experience from unexpected places. To live in lack is to speak lack, but to live in abundance is to speak abundance until it becomes your constant reality. Divine order is the foundation that sustains both victory and abundance. Without divine order, success can be fleeting and wealth can become unstable. But when you declare divine order, you are affirming that everything in your life is falling into perfect alignment with a higher plan. You are speaking into existence harmony where there was chaos, clarity where there was confusion, and direction where there was uncertainty. Divine order is the assurance that you are not lost, that there is a guiding intelligence directing your steps, and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should for your highest good. When you speak words such as, "I am in divine order, everything is working together for good, my path is clear," you call forth stability, peace, and purpose. Even situations that appear disordered begin to reveal hidden wisdom, because your words have declared that order must prevail. Miracles are the natural consequence of aligning your speech with victory, abundance, and divine order. A miracle is not a violation of law but the fulfillment of law at a higher level. When you speak in harmony with these truths, you lift your vibration to the level where miracles reside. Suddenly, doors open that logic said should remain closed. Healing comes where doctors said there was no hope. Opportunities arise where none were visible before. These are not accidents. They are the results of your words drawing unseen resources into the seen world. The miracle is not that something impossible happened. The miracle is that your words aligned you with a reality beyond your former imagination. Speaking only victory, abundance, and divine order requires vigilance, for the tongue is quick to echo fear and doubt. But each time you refuse to give voice to limitation, and instead choose words of faith, you strengthen your alignment with higher law. Over time, it becomes natural. Your vocabulary shifts, your declarations change, and your energy radiates a different frequency. Others notice it, circumstances reflect it, opportunities respond to it. This is the power of consistent speech rooted in faith. You no longer give life to defeat, you no longer feed lack, you no longer nurture disorder. Instead, every word becomes a seed of triumph, prosperity, and harmony, and the harvest of those seeds is nothing short of miraculous. The practice of speaking only victory, abundance, and divine order also transforms your inner state. When you hear your own voice declaring strength, you begin to feel strong. When you hear yourself affirming abundance, you begin to feel rich even before the outer evidence arrives. When you hear yourself speaking divine order, you begin to feel guided and supported. Your outer world mirrors your inner state, and when your inner state is filled with victory, abundance, and order, the outer world must eventually reflect the same. This is why miracles follow such speech, because what begins as a declaration becomes a belief. What becomes a belief turns into vibration, and vibration attracts its likeness until your life is a living testimony of the power of words.